All right, welcome to episode 105 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network. Sorry we've been gone for the last week. I have been running around everywhere, and other people had things to do, but you guys were nice enough to give me a little bit of time off. But we are back, and we have a lot to talk about, but we kind of picked a few things because we don't want to be here all night. But joining me for this at least brief period of time, we have our lovely friend Steven. Scary. The man who's calling from the upstairs, Chris. He's in the house.
Don't
and
trace
Rachel.
the call.
Ooh, spooky.
Oh, man. I would say something scarier for her, but she deals with the actual public, which is the scariest thing of all.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's terrifying, actually.
People are horrible.
I can't tell you the number of times I was stopped today by people asking me where to find the bathroom, and that is the most that has happened to me ever. Like, ever.
12 You're standing outside the bathroom. So where's the bathroom?
12 separate times, all in the same area throughout today, and I never get asked that question. Ever.
That's hilarious.
So
we'll go ahead and start with you then, Rachel, of what you've been up to, so we can dive into this.
Okay,
because...
I wasn't expecting that because my ear just started ringing. But okay, I think.
All right, we're going to skip that and go to Chris then. How about that?
Ooh.
Oh boy! All right, we'll give you a little time.
Yeah, it's giving you a moment. Chris, what you been up to, man?
I've been playing Super Mario 3D World. I've been trying to get all of the characters done in that final stamp. Got all the other stupid stamps. I want 100% the damn thing. And I've been saving myself for Super Mario Wonder because I'm going to be heading out on a trip and I need something to do. Also got back into Dragon Quest XI-S, the definitive edition, because I only beat the previous one. I didn't beat the definitive extra side quest special thing. So apparently I missed out on a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there's a game after the game, basically.
Exactly.
That is a fun game.
I finished, but I didn't finish the thing, so I'm going back to it. I also, after finishing Psychonauts 2, I'm going into a whole bunch of YouTube psychiatric therapeutic deep dives, and they're all fascinating and very, very disturbing when you think that a 10-year-old psychic boy just goes in there and just rearranges grown adults' lives.
I would love to just sit down and go through the Psychonaut games and just talk about them with you, because I love that series. I've played every one of them and just love it.
I'm glad that I have 3 people here who are fans of 3 of the different games that I've played. Mario, Psychonauts, Dragon Quest.
I'm guessing you're playing 3D World on the Switch, right?
Yes.
Or are you playing the Wii U version? Okay, you're playing on Switch. I was just wondering.
Yeah. Well, I never owned a Wii U until recently, so...
Also, you got another game within a game. Then you got to play Bowser's Fury.
Yes, I'll be doing that as well.
That's a good one. That's a short one.
It is, but it's fun. A lot of people thought that Bowser's Fury would be the new version of Mario, but we got Wonder instead. So there you go. And the last thing I've done is regret my purchase of the official Sonic the Hedgehog cookbook.
Oh, I have a question in regards to the cookbook.
Oh,
I know
please.
what the question's going to be. Go for it.
Is it all filled with chili dog recipes?
Okay. Here we go. This is the interesting part. This is the exact opposite of that.
Oh, no.
So, all right. You would think that a cookbook based off Sonic the Hedgehog would have fun, simple recipes that, a kid that usually plays video games would be able to do.
Right.
I'm going to open up this cookbook.
Oh, it's hefty.
It is. It's 175 pages.
I want to preface it with the fact that we looked up who was responsible for the recipes, and she basically recycles those recipes and has made Halo, Destiny, Skyrim, and a bunch of other cookbooks which are official, but they're just her recipes from her blog.
Oh, God. I hope she didn't do the Ghostbusters one, because I thought about getting that.
No, if you see the last name Rosenthal, run away.
Run away?
There's challah bread in here. There's honey mochi balls and black sesame soup. There's.
I want you to at least read the ingredients for the Sonic chili dog, because when I saw the cookbook that he showed me, the only thing I thought of was, Sonic, kids, maybe it's going to tell him to get, like, I don't know, a can of Hormel chili, a bun, and have your parents boil some hot dogs, and you have a Sonic chili dog. But wait until he reads you how to make it.
The funny thing is, and Rachel, I don't know if you remember this place. We actually went and had lunch at Tom's Hot Dogs today, downtown.
How was it? How are they?
2-foot-long chili dogs.
Oh,
delicious! They're doing good. They're still doing good.
Listen. Okay, Steve and Chris, if you ever find yourself in Panama City, you need to go to Tom's Hot Dogs. They're so damn good. So damn good. Like, it's just this little hole in the wall place that serves hot dogs, sometimes hamburgers, and sandwiches on occasion. And they're just, it's the hole in the walls are real great. Like, I also recommend a Maddie's La Casita.
Oh yeah, no,
hole in the wall restaurants are always the best because usually they only have a couple of things on the menu, but they are the best of those things.
Exactly.
Next time you come up here, Rachel, downtown has gotten a lot better for an actual hangout place with the arcade, and
I have been seeing pictures. So I'm friends still with a lot of the business owners that have been instrumental in that, as well as the arts people down there. One of my former boss, Aaron Rich, he's the owner of a marketing company down there. My God, he's the one who owns Nakatomi Plaza. So, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, so, literally?
In Panama City, yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no. I do want to go there. So.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Essentially, if you want to cook like Sonic, you need things like blue spirulina powder, dried shiitake mushrooms, and
kid's gonna get that.
One thing that we found in here was actually hundreds of dollars just to buy online. So, you guys can eat like Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm just gonna open up a can.
I don't know if I can afford that.
I am also disappointed in this because that is sad.
I would have loved to kill a thing full of chili dogs. Believe it or not, the easiest thing to make in that is Eggman's cookie recipe.
And yet he's the super genius.
So, all right, they don't even have a donut recipe for those
they do.
rings.
Actually, hang on.
Let
me find it.
You probably need like goat flour from New Guinea or something.
Let's see. Here we go. Page 132. Okay, it's flippity.
We need 3 pounds of actual gold.
Okay.
Actual factual gold.
There we go. It's called 7 Rings in Hand. Okay.
What?
After Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Right.
And they teach you how to make blue-white chocolate frosting with more blue spirulina powder, chocolate frosting, matcha frosting, and strawberry glaze. But, who has matcha powder in there? It's just... And
Remy. I bet you Remy does. But...
Like, the stuff in here, they are expecting you to be a fully stocked foodie to make any of this stuff.
And why would those people have a Sonic the Hedgehog cookbook?
It's just like, I can't imagine myself going to, imagine going up to a Whole Foods, flipping this sucker open and going, you think I'm bourgeoisie? Try to make a caprese salad for Vector the Crocodile. Ugh.
I'm sorry. What's hard about a caprese salad?
Thankfully, that's one of the easier ones.
It's mozzarella, fresh tomato, balsamic dressing, usually, and lettuce.
Yes, but the thing about the Vector the Crocodile recipes, they're for peasants.
They're for peasants.
What?
Because Vector the Crocodile is a down-on-his-luck detective with no money. So...
Oh my God.
I mean, he's not wrong. That's Team Chaotix vibes.
So yes, only the Vector recipes are for pathetic plebeians.
Who would have thought we'd come back and have this much fun talking about a cookbook? Well, Chris, before we go on to somebody else, I will on the show have to call out respect for that shirt of the bad comedy King Starscream. I know it's a little worn down if you're seeing it on the video, but respect for that.
I'll let you know where it is later.
Yeah. I will have it. So, all right, Rachel, if your hearing is back to normal, we'll
It is.
go on to you next. What have you been up to?
So
As you type in more stuff.
I just remembered that I bought some stuff today, so I wanted to talk about it. So I finished all the DLC for the first Spidey game on PS4. I did that last week.
Isn't it?
It's so good. Like, so good. I was like, one point I was like yelling because, you know, of all the stuff that was happening with Black Cat. And the funniest part in the entire DLC set was when Peter had an existential crisis about being a father. It happened for like 15 minutes total in the game. So for like a few minutes, he would freak out as he was just swinging around and I was just doing stuff. He'd be like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. And I'd be like, okay, calm down, please. And
I would love it if that screwed with his control.
And then he'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna go through the city.
Run into a wall.
I'm just gonna solve crimes. I'm gonna patrol. I need to distract myself. He's waiting for MJ to call back, and then he freaks out again about MJ because he had just like told her, and she's like, I need a minute to sit on this, and it turns out he's not. But it was just existential crisis was the funniest part of the DLC set that I did not expect to happen.
That is very silly.
Oh, it was very silly. Just
they did such a good job with that story.
So good, yeah. And I was just like, damn you, Felicia. I love Felicia, but also damn you,
Felicia Harding.
I love her. But now I'm about halfway-ish through Miles Morales, the game. It's very
shorter. Yeah, but it's a good one though.
So the combat's fun. My first thought was, oh wow, the Venom system. I hope they make a joke about this in the next game because that's a poor choice for an ability tree. Like that name particularly. Ooh. So yeah.
I haven't heard one yet, but I haven't also seen any of the other stuff yet, so who knows?
Yeah, but I was like, I hope they make a joke about that in the future because that would be fun. But for whatever reason, I'm not really enjoying the story as much.
How come?
Miles is annoying.
Ouch.
And I was talking to a friend about it, and they were just like, Rachel,
he's an awkward teenager.
He's a teenager. And I was just like, oh, well, that explains why I think he's annoying.
Oh, well, there you go.
But he's just, I don't know. His voice is just really whiny. I don't know.
He's pretty young in that one, so yeah, he's still on that awkward age.
But the combat's fun. I like the variety of missions so far. I like the Friendly Neighborhood app. I think that's really cool, and I hope that stays in the next game because it's just a cool way of doing things. And the most entertained I've been so far in it was with the whole thing. So finding out about the Prowler and who he is, that was cool. So yeah, but I'm like I said, I'm about halfway through. I'm probably gonna play more tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna finish it tomorrow. So obviously I'm gonna be a few days late starting the Spider-Man 2 game, which is fine.
So what you're saying is Peter Parker is miles better.
Wow.
If you guys listening could see your face right now.
That was bad comedy.
That was very bad. Listen, there's only one
Spider-Man
better
than the cookbook, at least.
Listen, there's only one Spider-Man for me, and that's Peter Parker. I'm very specific. So we all have our favorite Spideys.
I'll have a little comment on that when I get to my part.
But I will say though, I posted about this. I think it was either on Twitter or Threads, and I said, listen, I only had to see the new character model for 5 minutes. I hate it still. But it did not fill me with absolute revulsion at the moment of seeing it. So I'm progressing I imagine I will get used to it and I'll be fine. I just gotta convince myself that Yuri Lowenthal saying "get over it" was a personal attack on me, and then I'll get over it faster.
So we're going from bargaining to acceptance.
Yes,
All right.
yes, we're getting there.
Yes,
I'm teeter-tottering.
It's the 5 stages of remakes.
Yeah. But last week, when Jeremy was traveling, and I was also kind of traveling, I went to Tampa, to Hollow Scream at Busch Gardens.
Ooh.
My first time going there since like 2013.
Wow.
And when I had went previously, I went with my friend Amanda, who at the time was the editor for the Gulf Coast State College Gold Cry paper. So we got in free with press passes and stuff like that to go. And I remember it being like fun, but I don't remember anything else except for them having a vampire house that literally used intellectual property as the font, like from Vampire the Masquerade. So I was like, oh no. So that's all I remember.
Rachel's had whole discussions with me about font choices for logos, so I know how she gets into that.
Yes. But it was really fun. Like, I went with me and a couple of my gal pals. And we stayed at a hotel literally right across from Busch Gardens and just walked back to the hotel after. It was a really fun event. The scare actors were really they will really interact with you, like talk to you and just be weird and funny, especially if they are like, oh, they get it. They're theme park people. They get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like,
nice.
It was really fun. I will say, and then we also went to the one in SeaWorld. Like, we went to the Busch Gardens one on Saturday night. We drove there. It was like an hour and 45 minutes to get there. Then got up the next morning, had breakfast at the hotel, and then, because it was, free complimentary breakfast, you're not going to say no to that.
I've had enough of that this week.
And then we went back home. Yawn counter number 1. And I got a few things together at the house, changed clothes, went and got pizza with the same friends, and then we drove over to the Hollow Scream at SeaWorld and did not have as much fun as the one at Busch Gardens, but it was still fun. I don't know. I had more fun at the SeaWorld one last year. I didn't like the fact that they reused like over half the houses, which was kind of weird for me, but I mean, I'm spoiled when it comes to haunt events. What can I say?
So you're upset that they reused assets. I see how you are.
I mean, I don't mind them. Like, I mean, reduce, reuse, recycle, but at least,
repaint.
do something a little bit different. But
right.
I'm not going to criticize them too much because compared to Busch Gardens, Hollow Scream's been going on for like years there. Like, it's a pretty old event. SeaWorld's foray into Hollow Scream it's relatively new. It's only been going on for a couple of years, so they'll get there. They'll find their feet. I wish they had better food options, but once again, I'm spoiled for reasons. I also finished my outfit for the Lady of the Lakes Ren Fair coming up in like 2 weeks. Fair. Yes, I'm very excited. I love Ren Fairs. I think I like going to Ren Fairs more than I ever liked going to cons at this point.
Damn. All right.
Well,
cons can be stifling. At least with Ren Fairs, you can have fun.
Oh yeah, and you can kind of like get away from huge groups of people. But I don't know. Cons are just so saturated now, like very saturated. And especially in the cosplay community. And last time I went to a con, I was like, a friend of mine like hauled me up, put me over his shoulder, and walked me out of the vendor floor because I was ready to throw hands. Yeah. So
Rachel mad.
Yeah, I was big mad. And also like I was in a Death Eater costume, so I looked pretty scary at that point. So yeah. And also, let's see, what else have I done? Oh,
now I want to
today,
know what made you mad, but we'll figure that out later.
Everything made me mad. It was Saturday at MegaCon last year. It was packed, and it was just a time.
Gotcha.
Overall, the weekend was fun because I got to hang out with a really good like group of people. But like we had decided if we ever meet up at Mega again, even if we get a whole weekend ticket, like we're not going on Saturday. We will find something else to do. We will go mini golfing. We will go to Disney Springs. We'll go to somewhere, except for the con, because it was literally that bad. But like, okay, let me see. What else have I been doing? Okay. I started watching the pilot for The Amazing Digital Circus today. It's weird so far.
I don't know what that is.
It's supposed to be weird. Okay, The Amazing Digital Circus is what's happening on the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the same kind of vibes as Hell of a Boss, where it's supposed to be well animated and deliberately freaky.
Yes.
I described it to Steve as, and I think this was actually the point the creator wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cross between Toy Story and I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yes, that was exactly.
It was finally trending on X, and I begrudgingly clicked on it and regretted every minute afterwards.
So I will say, the character designs are a choice for certain, and this
is diplomatic, Rachel.
So it's deliberately supposed to be very strange. A lot of animated pilots are that way, especially after the success of Has Been Hotel those number of years ago. And then also, of course, Hell of a Boss. But I will say lightning typically doesn't strike twice in that way. So it is good. The voice acting is fairly quality. I'm about halfway through it. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's something to enjoy that's different from what I'm actively consuming at this time. So I'll watch the pilot. That's my opinion at this time. And then lastly, the WB Publishers sale is currently going on Steam, and I bought a bunch of Lego games.
That is a good choice, actually.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, ooh, what can I get that's fun to play that I can play on my computer, and I can what I call like a no frills, it's not a hard game, a no frills stream that's just enjoyable Lego games. So I got like a bunch of different ones. They had like the Batman stuff, the DC villain stuff, other stuff that's part of my favorites. I did not get the Skywalker one because it was only it was still like $16. I'm like, if it was under 10, I would have grabbed it. But like,
even for 16, that is
70. I doubt it'll be anything close to like $5.
I don't know.
At 16, I'm buying that on my Steam Deck tonight. Like that game is glorious.
I'll think about it. I got all the other ones, but I'll spend a few hours thinking about it. So I'm supposed to be saving money.
Oh.
And then
Steam sales don't help with that.
No, they don't. And then a friend of mine was like, "You should go to Spooky Empire with me next weekend on Saturday." And I was just like, "Boy, I'm coming off a 10-day stretch of work. I'm on day 5 at this time. I've got a bunch of 5 a.m. things that I have to do, and a 6 a.m. thing, and a different podcast related thing that I'm doing next Thursday." I'm like, I'm gonna be tired. I need a day of rest. Even though I'm very tempted because they've got their Laszlo cosplay done from What We Do in the Shadows, and I have a nausea. So I was like, tempting, but not this time. So
lovely.
And that's what I've been doing.
All right. Well, Steven, what you been up to?
I've been dipping in little things here and there. First off, gone through 2 episodes of Loki season 2 so far. Watching episode 3 this weekend. It's on a really good roll. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Kehwan is doing really well.
I love him in the show.
He's like one of the best parts of that. He's got the best jokes so far. I finished watching the Let's Play of Lies of P. It was 10 parts of almost 30 hours.
Dang.
But dang, was that second half amazing. And it got to the point where I'm extremely tempted of buying my first Souls-like just to hopefully there's an easy mode.
But say I'd never make it to the good part.
Because the lore was just so rich and like the stuff after the credits, like I can't spoil it, but it was amazing.
I am just saying, like, I have been consuming Fallout content for years on YouTube, and I have not played a single Fallout game because I like the lore.
It's great.
It's just that the developer and publisher are relatively unknown for this game, so I want to get the game so it doesn't like disappear, and I can only get it digitally or something.
Right.
Speaking of games, I did dip into. I did play the GameStop lottery, which is you buy new games and you see what you get. Online, of course. So I was like, "Oh, these are good deals. I'll buy them online."
Online's always a crapshoot.
As Bubsy would say, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, I know that a lot of times when I get the new games, they're opened and have the stickers all over them and somebody else's fingerprints, but it's new, right? I will show that I don't appreciate when they give you something with a giant rip in it and it's the artwork's missing now. So they were just like, yeah, it's still new. It's like, all right. But on a lighter side of that, at least I got a Street Fighter 6 Collector's Edition for $60 because they heavily discounted that.
I almost bought one. It was $50 here.
It was worth it for the two figures because they're huge figures.
Oh, really? I didn't get to look at them. Damn it.
The art book that's in there, you get dioramas to like pose characters in front of it says verses and stuff. So I was like, this is all really cool stuff. I'm all for that. Past that, I did decide to go into a frenzy and go back into F-099 because it's had a few updates. And some of the new stages are more chaotic, like the I think it's called Deathwind, because the wind is just pushing everybody to one side of the track, so it's just like forcing everybody to kill each other.
Oh God, I need to get back into that one.
So that one's been really well. And then finally, yes, it only came out yesterday, Super Mario Wonder, but I was like, I couldn't go into this podcast without playing it at least for 5-10 minutes. And it's every good. I will say it's probably one of the best 2D Marios in a long time. And I guess that's what happens when you give it to the guy who did 3D Land, 3D World, Odyssey. So, and they just said, let your creativity fly, and he did.
Here, have some acid.
I will tell you, whoever owns the game right now, this is not a spoiler. This is just something really, really cool that nobody expected. So when you get to the second level, and I think it's called Piranha Plant Parade. Okay. That level is full of the music blocks that you're used to seeing from Mario 3, but now they're multicolor because they're different notes on a scale. However, mute your TV just for a bit when you're on that level, because even though there's no speaker on this, Nintendo tweaked the vibrations. So when you run across the blocks, they play musical notes on your Pro Controller.
What?
And it'll do different sounds when you jump on the notes. When you run up the notes, it goes all the way up in octaves and everything, the whole scale. And all you can ask yourself is, how did they do this? Because all there is vibration motors in here. So what did they do?
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of things that they can do sound effects with vibration like that. That actually does happen a lot, but it's really cool they put that level of detail in there with it.
But these actually sound like almost like piano keys, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
I was like, "It's witchcraft." I was like, "I guess that's the Halloween theme."
But I had my headphones on when that was happening, and I kept when I walked through, I just kind of stopped, and I'm like, "That came from somewhere else. Where did that come from?"
You've just
know it was from the controller at the time.
You have to hold the controller up to your ear to really hear it very well. but it'll boggle your mind, and it's one of those things you like run around the house saying like, "Listen to this, watch this," because it's only with the Pro Controller. So.
Oh, because see, I was going to play it because I saw everybody recommending to play with the Super Nintendo controller. That it was one of the best ways to play it, but this doesn't have vibration. So thank you for that. I will be going right back to the Pro Controller.
You could probably go back, back to the Super Nintendo.
No, I'm good. Pro Controller's right here. I'm ready to go.
But, and I won't spoil anything, but they do add extra moves you can do, and they automatically map them to your shoulder buttons and stuff. So the Pro Controller does come in handy. I did try out the co-op mode with the wife. She got to play as Yoshi, so she couldn't die. The one thing I will say that I came across, which I don't know if it's because of how we were playing, but it seems like if you're not the first player, you can't. You can't move the scene forward.
Oh, okay.
My character almost ran off the screen and died, and had to come back because I tried to go ahead of something on a level where she was player one.
That makes sense though, because when you have 4-player co-op, it's going to be ultimate madness if everybody's going in one direction or another. So somebody has to be the anchor to the scene.
Yeah.
You have to have something like that Castlevania game where it like zooms super out and gets almost, really crazy.
And I know Kotaku with their infinite wisdom of horrible articles was like, the first thing you should do is turn off the flowers talking. No.
Screw that.
The second thing you should do after listening to those notes is you can actually change what language the flowers speak. So while the word bubbles are still in English, you can have them speak everything from Korean, Chinese, Russian, German,
Dutch,
Italian, Spanish, French. I'm having them yell at me in German. It's amazing because when there's levels where they're telling you to hurry up, they're like, "Mach schnell, mach schnell." And I'm like, this is fantastic.
Oh, I got to play this. Oh, man. So I'll go ahead and jump into what I've been up to, other than an ungodly amount of travel. Like I said, we didn't have a show last week because of everything going on, because I was in Wyoming for most of the week, got back, was just super tired. And then I was in Maine all this week. And yesterday was 19 hours from getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, going and doing the work for a bit, making it to my plane with, I shit you not, 4 minutes left before they would have had to turn me away. 4 minutes. And they'll never listen to this because they didn't even look like they knew what video games were. But to the old couple that let me go in front of them at the check-in, y'all are golden. Y'all good people. Because they were old and had multiple bags. And the lady was like, yeah, if you don't get checked in 4 minutes, they're not going to take your bag. And I'm like, these people couldn't even lift the bag in 4 minutes. So they were like, let him go ahead. So I managed to get in there, got through security, and of course security flagged my bag because I had chocolate for Amanda in there. So I had to explain to the lady what that was. I was like, it's a peanut butter square and a mocha square. Can I have my chocolate back, please? My wife likes it.
It's like when Chris got stopped at the check-in for having like a entire box of Zero chocolate bars.
They didn't have Zero bars where I lived, all right? I just really wanted a bunch.
I understand.
Do you have Zero bars now?
Yes, but I did not before. That's the point.
I understand.
Well, the other candy I had on this trip, I messaged Rachel. I found Zagnut bars.
Literally, I love those so much.
I did get one.
Oh,
I did eat one.
Oh, yeah, what do you think? What did you think of them?
Midwest airline security.
I ate it.
Completely different from like New York, because Midwest airline security, I think with Chris it was, oh, you must like chocolate, huh? And then with me, I was wearing a Mass Effect shirt. He was like, I love that title, and he started talking about it while looking at the X-ray of my bag.
That's great. But my main trip
bars are delicious. Okay,
yes,
I did like it. It was not what I expected. I for some reason thought it'd be like a chocolate bar. That I opened it and went, that is not chocolate.
Nope. That's why I like it. It's different. I haven't been able to find any down here. I'm very sad about it.
If I'd known, I should have grabbed you one. I could have been stopped for that in the airport.
Zagnut and Fifth Avenue. I could live off of those forever.
Oh, I haven't had Fifth Avenue forever.
$100,000.
Oh, those are good too.
Those are really good.
You never find a full-size crackle.
How come you never find a full-size $100,000?
I think those were always tiny, weren't they?
They commercials for microwaves. It's all that.
I've seen full-size Crackle here. So anyway, we've got off on a candy tangent. I'm diabetic and I want sugar now.
Sorry.
That's fine with me. So yeah, it's been a lot of crazy travel. I managed to get home a little after midnight this morning. And the first thing I had to do, because Rachel, you were talking about having the breakfast at the hotel. That's all I had for the entire week. And the only good thing they actually had was the damn waffle maker thing where you get the cup with the waffle batter poured in there, flip it over for 2 minutes.
Did you not have a good hotel that had the sausage and the seasoned potatoes?
They didn't know how to cook it. Because I tried some of that and was just like, this is nasty. So I kept having waffles. And when I got home, Amanda was like, what do you want to go for dinner? I was like, we're going to Waffle House. I'm going to have an honest to God good waffle for one damn day. So we went to Waffle House, and that's what my breakfast/dinner last night was.
I will tell you the last time I went up to Panama City, I literally, my friend was like, where do you want to go to eat? And I was just like, point me to the nearest Quorums. I need heavenly hash. and they were like, that's where you want to go to eat? I said, you don't understand. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it anywhere else. I've tried. They got to put some kind of drug in that to make it taste so damn good.
Probably. Game-wise, I did pick up earlier this week and then not ended up playing it much. No Man's Sky finally went on sale on Steam. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this and play it on the Steam Deck. It's got to run great. It doesn't. It is very poorly optimized for that thing. And it's this big janky mess. And I'm like, what is going on? I thought this would run beautifully.
Nope.
After what they did to the Switch version and everything, the
Switch version at least made sense and ran a little better. This keeps like stuttering and juddering around weird, and I keep dropping the resolution and everything. And I'm like, I'm getting to the point I might as well be playing the Switch version.
It's just a really big game.
Yeah, it's almost too procedural, I think, might be part of the problem. But I'm hoping it'll improve. At least I can play it on my PC, and I'll mess around with the VR on that one. But we'll see. I did finally get Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2. Amanda picked them up for me because I was busy traveling all day yesterday. I have them both. I've only gotten to play one so far. I have played this one for the demo, but I have not played the actual game yet. Jennifer got it, and Amanda sent me a video that I have to turn the sound down on when I watch it, because when she realizes Amanda had purchased the digital copy and put it on her Switch, she literally screams a lot. So I've been hearing her all day long talking about what she's doing and how she's enjoying the game. So definitely a win in that category. Spider-Man 2 has been kind of an interesting one. I'm not going to go into any story stuff or anything, but I will drop one cryptic thing for Rachel. You thought you had an issue with the Peter face. It's not the only one you're going to see.
I've heard some things about Mary Jane.
Oh, I'm talking about Peter.
I've heard he's got a huge neck.
No, actually, his neck looks fine.
Oh, Spider-Man's got a huge neck.
I literally, one of my friends was like, oh, man, you think you have a problem with Peter? You're going to have a problem with Mary Jane. And I was like,
Mary
why?
Jane does look weird.
And I go, why? And he goes, well, let's just say if she was in distress, I wouldn't save her. And I was like, and I was like, sir, that is mean.
That's not right.
I was like, that is so terrible.
She looks fine, but they did change the model some.
Like, I don't, I'm sorry, Insomniac, but I don't agree with your reasoning. It was both of them were perfectly fine character
They had to
models.
drop how her face looked to maintain 60, I guess. I don't
They need to dial up Supermassive Games to help them out with faces.
Right. So
they were fine in the first one.
They were. The only difference I had, like when I first played Spider-Man on PS4, I had zero problem with that thing running at 30 FPS. It looked great. It played great for me. I don't care what people argue about. 60 was not a requirement.
No, 60 is never a requirement for me.
When the remaster came out and they had the 60 FPS mode, I was like, okay, this does work really well for this, and I did really enjoy it. And then they came up with the ray tracing mode for that, where you could have 60 and ray tracing, and it looked great. Now, Spider-Man 2, you have two options. You've got performance and you have fidelity. So performance is, both versions have ray tracing. That's just an inherent part of it. But for performance, it's going to top off at 1440, but it's going to go well below that. So you're going to see the screen get pixelated really bad multiple times as things are kind of popping in sometimes. I was recording weird glitches with that. And
is that with the update?
That was with the update. It runs smooth, but it's just, I'm seeing kind of weird visual stuff with it. And I did notice something odd about the reflections, which I found out ray tracing is for some parts, but a lot of pieces don't have it. So like if you're by a car, Peter or Miles or whoever you're playing as won't reflect on the glass, but they'll reflect on the car. And it's just kind of like weird half and half. It just kind of sticks out for me. But the fidelity mode is noticeably better. It's in full 4K most of the time, the full ray tracing stuff, everything going on. So I'm thinking about going to that one, because the biggest part is the distance. Like you're swinging high in the city, you can see way off in the distance, and it's really kind of a mess in the 60 FPS mode. Like everything looks super jagged, and like you're getting weird reflections off windows and stuff. And it's kind of distracting for me. So we'll go back. Story-wise, though, I'm having fun. So Rachel, it's okay on that one. It's been good. We're good. Don't worry. This is totally a graphical gripe, and that was it. But I'll be probably playing more of that tonight after the show, and I'll try out the fidelity mode and see how I feel on that one. Beyond that, with Mario Wonder, I haven't played it yet, but I have already ordered the keychain that they dropped on the Nintendo store, which is Elephant Mario and then regular Mario holding a Wonder Seed on a nice little lanyard for a keychain. So had to do that because I had 880 platinum points. It was 800 platinum points to get it, plus like $7 shipping. I'm a sucker for that, but it'll be here eventually. As for TV shows, I have to get caught up on Loki as well. We watched the first 2 episodes. We have the third one to watch either tonight or tomorrow. And then we also have to catch up on the latest episode of Lower Decks because I was out of town, and we agreed not to watch stuff while I was gone. And that sucked. I made a bad call. But I did get to watch finally The Machine. Any of y'all heard of that one?
Is that with Mark Hamill and the comedian as well?
Yes. That was really funny. I actually liked it. I downloaded it from Netflix and watched it on the flight. And yeah, it's crude. Mark Hamill is hilarious in it, as is Mark Hamill, playing his dad. And especially later in the movie, after some stuff happens, it's him getting really kind of, his antics for how he animates and moves around is just really funny. So I recommend that one. It's good, even though nobody here seems to know what I'm talking about.
No, I watched the trailer because it had Mark Hamill in it. So I can't remember the comedian's name, but he's supposed to be really good.
Oh, it was Bert something. I'm blanking on the name now. It's The Machine. So,
all right. I'll look for it later. Now that I know
it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's a fun little watch just for the heck of it. I'm going to probably end up watching it again so Amanda can see it because I think she'll find it pretty funny. So, all right. So we will go ahead and move on to the news as we've been done here. Yeah, just pressing buttons. I forgot what order I was doing that in. This is what I get for taking time off. All right. So first up, Star Trek Prodigy has been saved. CBS and their infinite stupidity for some reason were going to cancel season 2 and then wiped season 1 off the face of the earth. They finally relented and released the first half of the series on Blu-ray, which I picked up. They're now releasing the second half, which I have pre-ordered. And both parts of that are coming to Netflix next year with season 2, which was pretty much almost done when they canceled it. Like they'd done almost all the animation, recorded all the voices and everything. That is coming to Netflix next year as well. So we will at least get to see the second season, hopefully wrap up the main story that the first season was working on. Has anyone else here watched Star Trek Prodigy, or is it just me?
No.
I'm taking the silence as no. For those listening, they just stared at me.
I'm very picky with my everything that I consume.
That's
Although,
fair.
Jeremy, your next trip, you should definitely get the audiobook for Make It So, because Patrick Stewart does read the whole thing.
I'll listen to that guy read the Sonic cookbook.
Exactly.
You know, he would make every one of those recipes sound fancier than the actual stuff you have to order.
They had
Not what I need. It's pretentious enough already.
they had two anecdotes that came out as most interesting from the book. One of them was that when he tried out for the Captain Picard, that they were his agent and such were like, you should do it with your
hairpiece,
with the hairpiece. And
that's a well-known story.
So they had it flown in, and he was just like, remember the days when you would have something flown in? And then they were like, you got it, because when they came into your trailer and saw you bald, they're like, yes, he looks so much better.
There was actually one episode of Next Generation where he had a toupee on.
The other one that was interesting is he had prerequisites for doing Star Trek Picard, and they broke pretty much every one of them.
Yeah, because they were like, even he admitted later, I made bad calls.
Because he was like, no, he was like, I don't want to do 3 seasons. It can't be more than 2. I do not want to reunite with the Next Generation cast, and I do not want to join Starfleet. And they're like, we're going to do all that to you again.
Yeah, and he didn't want the Enterprise to come back, which they broke that too. So, and pretty much he just admitted, yeah, I made bad calls. This is so much better. Watch season 3 of Picard. It was great. So I'm happy for Star Trek Prodigy. If you guys get a chance to watch it, if you like Star Trek at all, it starts off kind of kiddie because it was a Nickelodeon series, but it does end up with a really good, involved, and surprisingly dark series. We're talking like child slave labor and torture here.
I mean, listen, it was on Nickelodeon.
It was originally a Nickelodeon production with CBS. Yes,
Jeremy. Think about what Nickelodeon has put out. They put out Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay, fair enough.
They can do some dark stuff.
Well, it started off.
Yeah, even even their turtles, like before they went weird.
And all
Invader
Zim.
Zim.
And also, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That's true. I didn't expect a Star Trek show like this to go into child slave labor the way they do. And torture and other stuff. I was like, you guys remember this was supposed to be a kid's show, right?
Yeah, kids can deal with more than you think.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So watch the show. Don't play the game. It was hot garbage. Yeah, no, I bought it. I played it. I regretted it. I have it. Watch the show. All right. So next up, Nintendo is going to be shutting down the online for the Wii U and 3DS in April of 2024. So for all of you still playing Mario Kart 8 on that version, or still playing Splatoon 1 or Mario Maker, the original Mario Maker, all of that is shutting down. And that sucks. Because I managed to get a complete set.
I only have until April to play Wii Sports Bowling.
Oh, that's right. Damn it. We need to get together and play that. Because I have that one.
Because like the new sports thing they have on Switch is great, but you can't just play online with your friends. You have to do that battle royale every single time.
Yeah,
so silly.
I think that's what killed it.
It's
I hated
an inferior version. It is not nearly as popular.
Otherwise, there were so many other quality of life improvements that when I played it locally with my parents, they loved it. They wanted to play it again. They loved that we could bowl at the same time now. It wasn't take a turn. There were so many good things about it. But that online component, I was like, come on, Nintendo, update that. Fix that.
Would be a fun question if we ever had a debate. Like, would you be willing to lose all backwards compatibility on the second Switch if they got the internet right?
So
that's a monkey's paw thought there. Which one do you want?
So part of the monkey's paw is I heard a new rumor is that there's going to be 2 models of the Switch 2, and one's going to be fully backwards compatible.
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one will only be backwards compatible with the digital
because it's no
purchases
physical.
because there's no physical cart. Like,
I'm guessing there's a difference in price.
yeah, most likely.
Probably. I mean,
I don't think they'll
see
go
them
that
doing
route.
that.
A digital only Nintendo system?
No thanks.
They never have
thanks.
done that, have they?
I've never done that. No thanks.
They have never done that.
Well.
Okay, we're not talking about the IQ.
No, we're not talking about the IQ. I'm talking about the stuff that doesn't have disk drives or carts. The little Super Nintendo Mini.
I wouldn't really consider that the same thing, though. That's not a mainline console. That's just kind of their...
You can't put more on it. That's what he's saying. You can't.
Well,
no. We've already
Finger quotes. You can't put more on it.
Sega still listed as their last console being the Dreamcast.
More games for the Mini. There you go.
No, they will not.
I think if they do that, if they make a whole solely digital new Switch, then it has to be incredibly inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a market for that, but I would rather them have the option.
But who says we're gonna go over news later, Chris, that says that if you go digital, you can charge more.
Yes, well, we'll see.
God, we shall see. All right, so speaking of the Nintendo stuff, Doug Bowser actually was talking about the Nintendo accounts helping people transition between the Switch and this mystery successor system we're talking about during an interview with Inverse recently. He said, quote, "In the past, every device we transitioned to had a whole new account system. Creating the Nintendo account will allow us to communicate with our players if and when we transition to a new platform to help ease that process of transition." I want to point out the lovely lawyer ease or CEO talk of the if and when we make a transition, like, we know you've got a new system in the works. Come on.
Let them take their time.
Oh, they are. They're raking in that money still. I'm curious to see what their sales of systems are after this month with Mario. Like, they have to get a bump for the holiday.
Last month they went down in sales and PS5 went like almost over 175%. So the change is coming.
But he continued, quote, "Our goal is to minimize the dip you typically see in the last year of one cycle and the beginning of another. I can't speak to the possible features of a new platform, but the Nintendo account is a strong basis for having that communication as we make the transition." So, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Apparently, rumors swirled after the original Switch launch video was taken down. What?
Yep, you can no longer watch it on YouTube. They are taking it down. It has been made
good thing
private.
I have it downloaded.
It has been made private, so now everybody is just like, "What's going on, Nintendo?"
That's pretty strange.
That's such a weird thing to take down, though.
It was such a fun launch video.
It was.
You get to see that random lady just say, "I'm going to play games on the rooftops and stuff."
Yeah, wasn't that the one with the guy playing Skyrim on a plane?
The guy was like, "We're done playing basketball. Let's play some Mario Kart on the picnic table." Yeah.
I hate the fact that I've probably done most of those situations except basketball. I've played Skyrim on a plane. I've been to a party where we just like sat it down and started playing it.
Sports ball. Ugh.
Well, I mean, I'm not the best basketball player, so we're not going to try and deal with that. So at least it's looking like Nintendo's getting to the point that whatever the successor to the Switch is going to be, I'm still voting for Super Switch.
Super Switch.
Yeah, that's what I
like
want.
it.
I want Super Nintendo Switch. It just flows off the tongue better for me.
That would probably be better. Because I don't think they want... I'm sure the German group does not want someone shorten that to the SS.
No,
so we're not calling this... Yeah, Chris is like, oh, wait a minute.
You have the original is NS, NES, and then you have the new one is SNS. It writes itself.
They'll probably stick with that 3 letters.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I love Super Switch, and then I just tried to shorten it and went, oh no, I just had that moment. Never mind.
They're just gonna like, for all our expectations, to call it like Cosmos or something weird.
As long as they don't try and go back to the Wii title, because they did not do well with Wii U on that one because they were not very clear about it. But
introducing the Nintendo Fun Cosmos system, NFC.
The Nintendo Pay Us.
The Nintendo Fun Time system.
Yeah, there you go. NFTs. Nintendo sells tons of NFTs at launch.
Lord.
They would get the copyright and then start going after actual NFTs. That could be the best thing to save the world. Just destroy NFTs by sending Nintendo lawyers after them.
Bored Apes are a ripoff of Donkey Kong. Give us money.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of giving lots of money, it's finally happened on the week that we were off, ironically enough, but the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King merger is done. It has happened. They are officially now part of Microsoft. We'll see if the FTC still wants to continue their lawsuits. Hint, hint, they do. But the CMA over in the UK has finally signed off on it. They're completely done. The Microsoft came out and said Activision titles will not be added to Game Pass until 2024 because they're going to have to, I guess, finish out contracts and stuff. But all Call of Duty skins and other exclusives, where's your drink, Steve? Those have ended with already previous exclusive items for PlayStation showing up on Xbox and PC immediately. And some players are pissed because they wanted their exclusives to stay only on their system and that no one else should be able to get them. They don't like to share.
Call them away, ambulance.
They did officially say there will be no more console exclusive stuff for Call of Duty. Every system will get everything. Which, I mean, that's probably a better outcome than they could have had. They could have pulled that shit and made it only on Xbox for certain things. Phil Spencer also stated an interest for developers to dig into finding their past and open to reviving old game franchises that were previously buried by the Call of Duty monster. So,
see, now I like that because Activision owns Sierra.
Bring back the developers for Tony Hawk 1 and 2 HD and go ahead and make DLC for 3 and 4. Like, they were working on that, of making Tony Hawk 3 and 4 as DLC, and they stopped them to make them work on Call of Duty.
They made an offline mode for Steam Deck.
Thank God. I might actually get it on that now. Though the Switch version plays beautifully. I'm very surprised how well that one works. So I ended up getting it just because I am a Tony Hawk fool.
Yeah.
So we'll go around the room here to have our final say on this Activision Blizzard merger. Steven, what are your final thoughts on this whole fiasco that we've been talking about for months?
On the negative side, I don't like that they asked Mr. Moneybags to stay until the end of the year. So
I don't think
his silver parachute is now a golden parachute.
I'm betting there's probably some contractual issue that's causing that.
Yeah, it's just the articles I've seen have been painting it as that they actually asked him to stay on a little bit longer, I guess, to help with the transition, even though he's already leaving with all that money.
Or whatever they're having to do. I mean, it's not like they've hidden how they feel about it. Phil Spencer has called his ass out publicly for how he's acted.
A side of me knows that probably in the next few episodes we're going to be talking about layoffs over at Activision Blizzard King. So, that's going to be unfortunate because mergers always follow it up with layoffs, it seems, nowadays. But on the bright side, that last part, especially since even when he was talking about it, he even name dropped stuff like King's Quest. It would be nice to kind of see a resurgence of that old stuff, especially if it comes out on consoles, like the older stuff.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Chris, what are your thoughts on this whole fiasco?
The merger itself was incredibly messy, and we got a lot of airtime out of it, but all of those companies have their fingers dipped in some bad stuff, and I can only hope that one of them will end up, moving the reins around and just making it a better company of all, And never again will we have to ask, don't we have phones? I hope.
He will ask for Candy Crush.
Man. Candy Crush.
Rachel, what are your thoughts on this one?
I don't have any thoughts.
She's like, I don't care.
I don't care.
Like, get off my news.
All right. So the only thing I have to say about it, you're talking about we're probably going to hear about layoffs at some point. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to have to call them layoffs or if they're going to go in and finally clean house on some of the people they've had issues with, specifically like over at Blizzard, where they've had like massive lawsuits and other things going on about sexual harassment and things like that. If they're going to finally try and clear some of that out, hopefully.
Yeah, I've worked for a few companies that will call it restructuring, or I'll just call it like positive realignment, and I'm like, positive?
I think given the size and the age of Microsoft, they're going to be very corporate speak for a lot of the way they do things. They're not just going to be like, hey, we're getting rid of these guys because they did this. They're going to come out with some nice line and a means just to get them out of the building, which is why I think what's happened with Kodak as well. They probably came to some kind of agreement. We'll have you to this point, then you go. Kodak probably had other contractual poison pills in there that he's wanting to try and hold on to and may have gotten out of it.
Boggles my mind is why did they have an interview that they had to get the entire staff together for Bobby Kotick to be interviewed by James Corden? What?
Maybe they were trying to give him a little bit of torture.
And they talked about Guitar Hero. I was just like, what?
Maybe they just want him to seem crazier, like he actually is. I don't know.
Still a better story than Cats. Okay.
I refuse to watch that movie. I don't care how many people. God, have you seen Cats, Rachel?
The movie?
Yes.
Why in the hell would I give that abomination any moment of my time? I've had the distinct pleasure of seeing Cats live and in person at the Marina Civic Center when it was still open. So
live and in person at the Marina Civic Center
when it was still open, way back in the 90s.
The local one here in Panama City. So for that statement alone, Rachel's respect, which was already incredibly high, as long as friends we've been, a little bit higher. Good job.
Yeah. Listen, okay, I've seen most of Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber's musicals in person. So yeah, I have. I'm a big fan of the opera fan. So
so is Amanda. I would actually get a huge laugh at it. If you two ever sat down and just talked about it, I would just sit there and be like, this is going to be entertaining.
So I will
say I get to watch her nerd out on a full level.
I completely 100% attribute my singing prowess to that show and that show alone, from my grandmother and my mother introducing it to me when I was like 4 in a car ride to Georgia on cassette tape. I didn't let him play anything else. So nice. Sarah Brightman and Michael Crawford are voice mom and voice dad. Thanks.
Well, they apparently released a vinyl copy of Phantom of the Opera, and I am trying to find it. I want to get it for Amanda as a gift. She'd love it. So, anyways.
I love that show. It's so good.
So, next up, Sony has announced an updated PlayStation 5 will be released later this year. So, they're not calling it the Slim, but it is smaller. It's like 24% smaller, but they won't show pictures of the system next to an original. They will not release anything that shows that comparison, which I find absolutely hilarious. And they won't give actual measurements of anything. So we're just kind of going by a general scale. Once again, you've got people measuring the disk slot size so they can try and scale it to another one to get, estimations, which I love when they do that. It's hilarious to me.
And they don't know how to spell separately.
They do not.
That was the best.
I didn't realize they misspelled that. That's great. So this model will feature 4 side panels instead of the original 2 with an optional disk drive. It'll have a full 1 terabyte internal drive compared to the original only having 825 gigabytes. So good on them. It can be purchased in a bundle for the existing cost of a PlayStation 5 disc version for $499, or can be purchased as a digital only model, but that has gone up from the original digital only model by $50 to $449. So you're only saving $50 to get go ahead and get the disk drive, but you can add the UHD Blu-ray drive to this digital-only version for $80 later on. So it will end up costing
what's the
more.
point?
Wait. The Blu-ray drive that you can add later on, is it like one that you plug into it, like for PCs that don't come with a disk drive?
You have to take the bottom corner panel off, plug the disk drive in, and then put the new cover panel that comes with it onto it. You haven't seen it
the
yet?
Sega CD version. Shunk.
I will give them one thing though. Their original plan was to have you connect it with a USB cable, and I'm so glad they threw that out.
I am also glad that they threw that out, but I'm just looking at it and I'm going, actually, hold on. The only thing that, and this is the only thing that like struck me, that caught my eye when the announcement came out, the kickstand.
Yes.
I like the kickstand. And here's why. So I have my PlayStation right over here. You can't see it. It's off screen.
Which is amazing for as big as that thing is. You should be able to see it even on a flat camera.
It's currently like being stored vertically, but I had it when I was in my different setup in a different room. I had it stored horizontally.
Which is the worst.
Well, it's actually the safest for it if you bought the very first model that came out. This one was the second set that came out. Yes. If you stored it vertically in the first release, there are a pretty high percentage of people that when the system got too hot, the like heatsink on there would drip down and destroy the whole system.
Ooh. Jeez.
I have a day one launch model, but I just don't play it enough to worry about that.
Yeah. So, and also you're not
Spider-Man.
And also
Spider-Man's going to be the death of it.
And also you're not playing things that are really making the system hot. I don't think Spider-Man will be one of those. But like, it's just, that's because, then just play it in fidelity mode. You'll be fine. That's what you're going to do anyway, so problem solved.
Going to. I'm just saying, it is crap.
But I will say, when I had it stored horizontally, one of the most aggravating things that I had to do was take off the base and then put the base on for the horizontal way. And I somehow, I don't know how, because I stored the screw in a very specific location, when I went to put it back together to put it vertically, couldn't find the screw. Screw's gone. In the wind. Had to order a new one. And I mean, I got one for like 75 cents on Amazon. It was not that bad. So like, it's just one of those things that I'm like, the kickstand. I like the kickstand. It's cool.
So the kickstand is really funny. The way it just kind of pops down, looks like landing gear on the Millennium Falcon. So it sits flat on the disk drive, which means you're going to be kind of low as you put the discs in. And it no longer comes with a vertical stand. You have to buy that separately for $30.
Yes, they're encouraging people to use it horizontally instead of vertically. So,
well, they want to have that extra charge because they keep showing it vertically. Every piece of advertising shows it vertically, but they're like, to do this, you have to buy this extra piece for $30, which, I mean, I get why they're doing that to a point. Because that last stand, I don't trust it. Horizontally, that thing is the most unstable.
Oh, it is.
It would slide when I'm just pressing the button to eject the disc. That was enough force to slide it around.
Well, I mean, you had to
printed feet.
So you had to very, very specifically attach it. Like, I finally got it where it wouldn't move. Yeah. And you had to really like play with it a little bit before it. Like it took.
They had it marked for the exact 2 hooks in the back and all that stuff. It's just like they should have had a way to secure it in there, like put a screw hole in the back where you could at least tighten it in there and have it hold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mine was secure. Mine didn't go nowhere when I put it on, but I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe design your next system not to look like a router. I don't know.
It looks like a post-contemporary building is what it looks like.
My favorite is still whoever added the head to the top of it to look like the dude from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Kaiba.
I lost it.
I have money.
I was like, all right.
Screw the rules. I have so many.
Yeah, that's a good reason to have it vertical and just like stick that on the top of it and just leave it. It's got the popped collar and everything.
Perfect.
So yeah, the other changes that are happening with this one, the front is now 2 USB-C ports, with the only USB-A being in the back of the console. So if you have any of the multitude of accessories that require USB-A, you have to reach around behind the system to plug it in, be it fighting sticks, controllers, headsets, all of that.
So
unless you get an adapter.
I was about to say, when you buy the system, it usually comes standard with one controller and a charging cable. Is the charging cable that it's going to come packaged with a USB-C to USB-C charger?
I hope so. Because I know currently if you buy a new one, it's USB-C to USB-A.
Yeah, so Sony, honey, Sony, baby, darling, honey, child. I mean this in the most kindest way possible. What the heck, Rebecca?
Oh, but we love accessories. Just buy the charger. That's all.
Oh, and here's the kicker.
Jesus Christ.
They still have not officially said if this new updated PlayStation 5 will support the new proprietary wireless format of their hundreds of dollar headphones or earbuds. So far, only the PlayStation Portal supports it.
Yes.
But they will not say if the new console supports their new proprietary wireless format that you are spending hundreds of dollars to buy earbuds for. I like my PS5 move. I really do. It's still one of my favorite controllers Sony's ever made because it's comfortable to me. Man, they are making some weird decisions.
May I just remind you of 2 words?
Yes.
Corporate greed. Thank you.
There you
go. Preach, Rachel, preach.
I'm going to add 3 words to that. Deep Earth Collection. Oh, no.
Yes. So the other fun thing, if you were one of the lucky people who probably has a manslaughter charge now from being able to get a hold of one of those Spider-Man shells for your PlayStation 5 or ordered one of the, somewhat limited shells they had, those are no longer compatible. They will not work on this new system. So if you buy a new PS5, yeah. And they will not say that if they make new collector's edition shells, if they will only be the 4-panel design, meaning the old original PlayStation 5 owners will not be able to benefit from them, or vice versa. So the whole purpose originally for these panels was so you could buy the panels and get a collector's edition console without buying a whole new console. Their answer to that is to make a new console that requires you to buy a whole new console. Wait a minute.
PlayStation, we suck at compatibility.
Oh man. I don't know. I like the fact they have the replaceable disk drive, because I'm hoping that even in the future, if something happens with that disk drive or, longevity, it's a component that can be replaced. And it also screams, hey, I'm a place you could eventually put a disk drive emulator when you eventually crack this son of a bitch in like 10 years. And this is our in to get a PlayStation 5 working after Sony drops support. But that's just me.
Some technical know-how in a 3D printer and it's over.
Right. You just have to find a way to flash external drives to match that
I wonder
connector.
if the 4 panels is because, like you even told me today, how scary it is to rip off one of the panels or shell to install the SSD. So.
I thought I broke the shell. Like once I got it off there, it was fine. And like, I know, Rachel, we were talking about replacing. That's what I forgot to mention. I finally put 2 terabytes into my PlayStation 5. So
I'm just going to accept whatever I have in there at this time, because installing the SSD that I installed was literally so stressful. I had to drink 2 bottles of water afterward. I was panicked that I was going to destroy something in there.
I had the worst case scenario for anyone who's ever worked on consoles and stuff. I popped it out, got everything installed, screwed it in there, put it back together, flipped it over because it was upside down, and I hear a rattle.
Ooh.
And I take it and I shake it and I hear something move around and I went, oh no, what is loose inside my PlayStation 5? I'm looking around, I pop the cover back off. I'm like, okay, I didn't break the tabs, which, fun fact, just lift up in the corner, pull down. It's going to feel like, and it's going to sound like it's going to break, but it seems to hold up.
Oh yeah,
dear
no,
God,
that
it's
was my
loud,
first
like,
panic. I literally made my best friend call me. Like
Mhm.
I was like, "You got to call me on the phone. I'm too nervous." And he's like, "What in the hell is me going to be on the phone with you help with?" And I'm like, "Then I have a witness." And he's like, "An audio witness?" And I said, "Listen, okay, just call me on the phone." And
It's like
I'll be
watching a
here.
scary movie. Like, you're easier to watch when you have someone else with you.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here and I'm like Ginger, he's like, you don't have to treat it like it's a baby. And I'm like, but it is.
My baby.
It was
But
probably still hard to get a hold of at the time. If you
Mhm,
break it,
mhm.
you're done.
Oh,
All the
yeah.
instructional videos for installing that SSD, like, yelled down, from the mountaintops, keep discharging any possible static electricity. Keep discharging. I was just like, okay, touch this pole. Okay, touch the pole again. And I was just like, why is this so stressful? And then I put in the heatsink upside down. I was like, okay, no, I got to do it again. And then after all that, because I bought a Samsung Pro SSD, I get the reports that they said the Samsung ones have poor health and without a firmware update. And the PlayStation 5 cannot do firmware updates on hard drives or SSDs. So one day your SSD from Samsung is just going to stop working out of nowhere. I was like, fantastic.
Wait,
Yeah.
I don't think I got a Samsung one.
Because they said the only way to Samsung themselves was like, well, just take it out, connect it to a PC, and update the firmware, and you're fine. And they're like, but all the stuff on there, because it formats when you plug it into a PC.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I'm just accepting the fact that I'm like, okay, I'll have to delete some games off there, I guess.
And I'm just like, you know what? By the time Mr. Samsung you die, the Pro will be out, so we'll be fine.
God, I hope we don't get a Pro. I still think it'd be a stupid
Never
mistake on their
say
part.
never.
If they separate the market like that, they're going to have a lot of people pissed
the
off.
Pro is only compatible with the Slim line, where for $180 you can attach a new hard drive that's even faster. A new disk drive that's even faster.
Yeah. Well, they also will not show. I'm sure it's probably still the same way to put the SSD in there, but they won't talk about the expandability options on this one either. They are surprisingly quiet when asked questions about this new system that's replacing this. And this is going to be the system that replaces all of them. Once the current run of PS5s are out, this is all you ever get to get again. See, but they can't answer questions about the hard drive, the internal drive going in, just the fact that it has a terabyte built in, but not the expandability. They won't talk about the wireless support for their own proprietary format or what they're going to be doing with the external cases, other than they're releasing the same colors for that nature set for this one. But that's it. They haven't said anything about like the Spider-Man or other collector's editions or future collector's editions.
See, it's just funny to see how all three deal with different types of memory issues. And from my experience, Nintendo was nice enough to be like, yeah, it supports up to 1 terabyte if they make that. And then they started making that. And finally started going down in price. You can get them for like $80 now sometimes. It's pretty nice.
I think Jeremy put a terabyte in his Switch, and I'm like, that's a lot, son.
But it's nice.
Whatever.
And then Microsoft said whatever size they make, it'll support every size. So I have a 12 terabyte connected to my Xbox Series X. Mm-hmm. However, what they don't tell you is that you cannot control anything until both hard drives have started up and are ready to play with the Xbox.
Sony does not want to commit to anything. They don't want to say anything that like they might have to take back later. So their solution is to say nothing.
It feels like this could be easily solved with an FAQ page.
Well, like, here's the thing. They don't want to commit to it. They're not going to put anything on it because what if they have to take it back? Just saying.
So I'm looking at the truck you just sent me, Rachel, and that's cool. She sent me a Spider-Man truck, or sent it to the group, not just me.
Yeah.
That's neat. Anyways.
To go with the Wheaties and the sneakers.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait and see when this PS5 comes out. Are any of you guys going to get this newer model PS5?
Why? I have a PS5 right here.
No, the Pro's coming.
I don't give a shit. Sorry.
I hate Sony.
I mean, I don't hate them, but like,
Chris, okay. To be fair, Chris is just mad because he found out the PS4 does not play audio CDs.
It's still so stupid.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can't play audio CDs on that or PS5, but you can on a Series X. They're backwards compatibility.
Sony's not getting me until they make a new Persona game. And that's if they make it for a Sony system.
Oh, you mean when? Okay, when, yeah. Makes sense.
Chris, you and my coworker Andrew would get along very well because he loves Persona.
I'm a big fan of all the Shin Megami Tensei stuff. All the Atlas stuff.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh, that's great.
So yes, when Persona 6 comes out, that's when Sony will have me by the ghoulies.
Oh, man. All right. So next up, this one kind of caught me by surprise because as an electronics engineer, I follow a lot of the stuff for FPGAs, and the amount of power needed for current system, like for the current run of FPGA consoles, usually tops off around like the PlayStation 1, the Sega Saturn. Some people are trying to push for PS2, but that's probably not far enough. But they finally, Analogue announced they're making a Nintendo 64. They're calling it the Analogue 3D. So it's a full 64-bit FPGA system. No price or date have been released, and we haven't even gotten a full view of it, just kind of an angle, one little shadowy corner of it. But unlike Sony, they actually gave responses for some of the questions, so we know some things about it. It will play actual N64 cartridges with a 4K output option. It has 4 controller ports, but also supports both options of 2.4 gigahertz and Bluetooth wireless controllers. So fingers crossed I can use the N64 controller from my Nintendo Switch Online, because that thing's great. They have original display modes. They haven't gone into detail on that yet. I'm kind of curious of what that's going to be. And they say, and this I thought was interesting, reference quality recreations of specific model CRTs and PVMs.
Got to get those scan lines in.
You do, especially for 240p stuff that they have for the N64. Like, you want the skylines. It looks weird without it. But the fact that they're actually outputting the signal to mimic, we don't know what CRTs and PVMs, but I guarantee there's going to be a Sony in there, because that Sony BVM, there's a few of them that are, or PVM, that are really popular if you can get them. Super expensive, but such good quality. It's got to be region free, as their other systems are as well, because for those that don't know, the only region locking on a Nintendo 64 are those stupid tabs inside of the cartridge slot. So you can just cut them off or snap them off, and haha, you have region free.
Wasn't the SNES the same way?
It was. Oh, man. So is anyone else here interested in something like this? Okay, Steven is shaking his head no for those listening.
I was all for the Analog Pocket. The capabilities of that, having the Game Gear adapter that's now priced higher than the system because it's so rare. For the Game Gear adapter and stuff, having all that in that kind of format was fine.
Okay.
But I just recently watched or saw a few screenshots of one person who got the Mr. Core of N64 working and getting the highest quality shots. But I don't know. I feel once you're getting into the generation that has anti-aliasing, unless you have something in there that can fix that, kind of like the Nintendo Switch Online does to some of their games, it just looked really horrible. I'm like, it looks like there's sharp edges around some really gooey textures. So I didn't like how it looked. So I was just like, I'm not getting behind this one, because I think once you get into blurry graphics, I don't think they're able to fix that. You can't tweak it as much as you could with a standard emulator.
Well, I'm curious if that's some of the display modes of how they have that coming out, because there are certain things you can do, especially if they're controlling every step of the way. They can disable some of that pre-anti-aliasing that the N64 used to put in, which you could do if you use like either some mods or Game Genies and stuff like that, or Game Sharks. You could turn off some of those functions. So who knows?
And I really hope that they upgrade their website because, as
Yeah, no
almost
kidding.
everybody echoed in the comments, they're going to sell out in 5 seconds, and they're all going to be on eBay being scalped until they do a re-release like they did with the other systems.
Yeah, we know I'm going to try and get this. Let's just get that out of the way now. Everyone's already aware of this. That's not even going to hide it.
As Star Fox would say, good luck.
Good luck. If I do get it, though, we'll have to stream that so you can complain about how it looks the whole time. All right. Chris, what are your thoughts on this one? Any interest or
not for the
curiosity?
N64 one, but I do wonder what other consoles they'll do. I think for certain ones, they'll probably have a bigger market than they would expect. If they do a Sega Saturn version, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a hard one to get a hold of, especially if it's region free. That would open up for a lot of people being an easier time playing it. I'm curious if they ever go into the PlayStation side of it. If
CDs in general, I'm interested in how they're going to do that.
Yeah, because they've never actually done a CD based system so far.
Oh, it's all cartridges.
Yeah, it's always been cartridges so far because they've done the NES was the original analog, and that was ungodly expensive because of the way they made it. So that ended up kind of dying off or becoming a very rare thing because it was made out of like milled aluminum body, and it required NES parts, and it had an analog and digital output. It was really impressive, but that thing was close to $1,000. Like, it was ridiculous.
Wow.
So they made a DeLorean for the NES owners. Very nice.
And
basically
an DeLorean.
Yeah.
a DeLorean.
A DeLorean.
There you go.
The DeLorean.
Listen, it is 10:15 p.m. here.
Yeah. Be strong. We're almost there.
When they came out with the Super Nintendo, they made the body out of plastic, really nicely modeled plastic. They shrunk the size down. They made it digital only for the output. They brought the cost way down, and it's one of my favorite ones. It works really well. Then they did the Genesis, which actually did support the Sega CD and the 32X, but the 32X required the digital output, or the analog output, for that one. And they've been working on one for the TurboGrafx, I believe, the Turbo Duo, and that's been kind of a weird one. That one has a CD player. So this would not be the first CD player. I take that back. So, yeah. Rachel, your thoughts on this one? Would you want a 4K HD and Nintendo 64? You PlayStation girl?
No, not really.
Fair enough. All right. I know some people keep talking about like, oh, there's not enough of a library for the N64 to warrant this. Yeah, I'll argue I would play this. I would absolutely love this. So, all right. And lastly, we're kind of combine these two into one story here, but Walmart has announced that they will be ending physical games in 2024, or selling physical games, starting with Xbox, according to some reports, as being the first system they start to drop and change over to being digital download codes only in store. And to go along with that, Best Buy has announced that they will be ending physical movies and music in 2024. No word on games yet. They're still selling. But it sadly seems like we're seeing the end of physical media for a lot of places, and I don't like that at all. Because like right now, Jennifer and Amanda are in our room watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on Blu-ray because she wanted to watch it, but we didn't want to be streaming a movie while we're doing the show. So they're watching the physical media version. What do you guys think about this? Does anybody have... I already know where Steven's going to be on this one, so we'll start with you on the love of physical media. Go ahead and start us off. What do you think, my friend?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So I'm basically fighting in certain things with my wife over the physical media.
Uh-oh.
Everything from once we got Disney Plus, which is going to be an astounding $140 a year.
God dang.
Starting in the end of this month.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention all the price hikes that they did.
That she's been less enthusiastic to buy any of the Disney movies or shows at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I know it's great because they're all here, but I was just like, there's still going to be things that they're only going to put in physical media. Sometimes it's the bloopers, sometimes it's the alternate endings. Because there's no DVD menus when you use streaming. They're not going to include the alternate ending or alternate opening or anything like that, or deleted scenes. Sometimes Disney does in their like extra section, but do you really want to do that?
Yeah, and then I mean Prime does too, but you have to do X-ray, which you can't really do on any of the Prime Video apps. Like there's a way to do it, but it's like very workaround. So I love physical media.
The only thing I can say is that I've heard like a lot of Best Buys have already done this, because while there's certain ones that are lend itself to being in a very popular area, and it's the first thing you see when you walk in is their new release black cube.
Right.
They're always empty when I go into mine. And
really,
when I go over to like the TV section, it looks great, but then I go over to like their horror section right now or the new release section, and none of them are there. And I'm like, it's 2 days past the release date of the movie. Why there's no way you sold all these copies. There's no way. So I can see how certain stores are just moving away from it. If they move it away to just online, then I can see how that would benefit them a lot more than in store. Because with all the membership you can sign up for and just get free shipping and get it in a couple of days,
right?
The convenience of all this, especially with the power of Amazon, which ruins tons of businesses. Let's be frank here.
Very true.
That's why I think on the storefronts, especially if they're saying in store, I totally get it. I can't remember the last time I went into a Walmart to buy a movie, unless it was just to browse. Like Rachel said earlier, sometimes when you go to a Walmart, you're like, I didn't know they made this on DVD or Blu-ray. That's the only time I've ever bought a physical media like that from them. But unlike the other things, I just think there's a lot more money put into games, so I don't think Best Buy's touching the games anytime soon. Especially with all their headsets they have, their VRs, their Rogue Allies, their Steam Decks. There's way too much gaming in there for them to be like, we're not going to take physical media games.
Well, I mean, for stuff like the Rogue Ally and so forth, those are digital only. There is no physical PC games for them to sell. They're just selling Steam cards and stuff like that for them.
The thing about that
is
is
accessories too, like the headsets, all the different accessories, and I feel like just having a wall of that's not going to be anywhere near as good as having games next to it as well.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I was about to say myself.
Yeah.
You need to see what you can play, even if it's just box art.
Yeah.
If you just see a console and you don't know what you can do with it, that's not going to be as efficient marketing as seeing, Halo 17 and just like, check this out.
Oh gosh, Halo 17.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, how is that going to affect their selling of things like Blu-ray players and things like that work with the physical media? Are they going to be limiting that as well if they're not selling them in the store as much or at all in some cases? Because I know not everybody has Blu-ray players or can do streaming as easily. So like, especially in Walmart, they're really big about, they'll have this big bin of DVDs that people will go in there and pay a couple bucks to buy a bunch of movies. And that's still pretty popular. DVDs do scale pretty well depending on the content, and sometimes it's the only ways to find the movies at all. Because some movies just never made it to Blu-ray or anything beyond it. Like, was it not Mallrats, but Dogma?
Dogma is on YouTube in its entirety still.
Oh, that's a surprise. I know they tried to find a way around that
Kevin.
because Weinstein freaking screwed over that whole thing.
It just keeps coming back up. Literally. It's just...
Well, no, I mean, he made the deal with him to try and get the movie produced, and now he owns the rights to it and won't give it up, so he can't re-release it. They can't do like the 4K or the Blu-ray releases for it. But other stuff like my friend Brent's been having me hunt down movies every time I travel, and like I've been trying to find Young Guns 1 and 2 because that never made it beyond DVD. Hell, I picked up a couple movies for him I've got sitting around here somewhere, like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and a few other ones that I got. DVD was the only way. That was the highest we ever found of them because they never existed beyond that. They're not available on streaming either. for a lot of them.
Listen, I'm one of those types of people that when I want to go to a thrift store, I go to a yard sale, I'm looking at their DVDs and stuff like that because you never know what you'll find. So
you want the biggest thing that helps towards physical media?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Warwick Davis's X profile where he talks about, hey, Disney, it's fine and all that you canceled my new series after one season, but I don't have anything to show my kids because I can't buy it anywhere. You have no way of letting me have it. And with the introduction that they've, broken the barrier and you're getting WandaVision and Loki and Prey to come out of the Disney Disney Vault and come into everybody's hands, he's just like, can you please release this physical? Because some of these things people like to have, not only to have it physical, but sometimes it holds a special place in their hearts. That's kind of how people buy physical media. You can't you can't hug a digital copy.
Well, it's like earlier when I was talking about Star Trek Prodigy, when Paramount just canceled it all of a sudden. They didn't just cancel it; they took it off the service. They made it like it doesn't exist anymore. So only the first half of the season was ever physically released at the time. So I managed to get one before the price skyrocketed, but people were just like, so that's a whole part of Star Trek, which is a massive, franchise that is known for over half a century. And they're just cutting off part of it like it never happened. And Disney did that with Willow. They could do that with any of the Star Wars series. They could decide tomorrow, well, we're just going to get rid of the Mandalorian. We don't want to pay for this stuff anymore. And it's just gone. No physical release, not available on streaming, gone. And they can change the movies as well, where they've gone in on digital releases like, oh, I can just stream it. Well, which version of E.T. are you getting to stream? Are they holding flashlights? Are they holding the shotguns? Or, what
which
words or
Splash
scenes
are you getting? Are you getting extra CGI hair added to the butt, or are you not?
Yeah, like there's been a lot of changes that they did after the fact for the digital that makes the physical more of the actual release. So, Rachel,
it was
do you have
like
any?
What do you call it? Rachel, you could probably say the same thing as because stuff like Scrubs is a husk of its former self on streaming because they don't have the rights to all the music. So even like some really good musical moments are gone. And I was hearing that Supernatural was kind of a jigsaw puzzle because they're like, oh wait, there's music in there, switch it.
Oh yeah, no, there are scenes in Supernatural that are completely different when you watch it on Netflix, because it's missing a song. Yeah, they had to.
That's the only place I've ever watched it.
Yeah. There's like it's missing music. There's different lines involved. Like just very like they this makes me think that either they had to go back in and record something again in like ADR, like after the whole season's been produced.
After the fact.
Yeah, right. After the fact, after the whole season's been produced, like, hey, this might go on streaming one day. We need to prepare something just in case we can't have this music piece. So thankfully, when you get it on like Blu-ray or DVD, it's all intact. Everything's intact as it was, and you get all the deleted scenes and all the bloopers. I mean, I have the complete series box set of Supernatural. It's like that big. It's huge. It's massive.
That makes sense.
I will say the container that they put the DVDs in, not the best. I've been transferring them to sleeves, multi-sleeves, because they're more secure that way, because I have almost broken one of the DVDs in half getting it out of the case that it came with. So
dang.
Yeah.
And then the only time I saw the reverse happen, which was quite a surprise, is Paramount got the rights to put back in the music videos to Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you got the reverse. Because usually, because of all the music, you're like, no, I can't do it. And that's why I tell people, I'm just like, it's great that they remastered the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, but I was like, you're missing like all this music.
So much.
Because they had to change the radios.
Yep. I think also it's like, it's kind of a, once again, it's a question of profit margins and cost. If it costs them more to keep the music in and have that like series integrity, regardless of where it is, if it costs them more than whatever they are making off of it being on streaming, then it's better for them not to do it. And also some of these artists, like especially with Supernatural, some of those artists getting the music in there was stupid expensive. Like, to give you some context, this is not, I mean, it is Supernatural, but it's not. In the Winchesters, in like the very last episode, there is a song in there that is literally what they've always said is like Dean's theme song. It's the song Ramble On. And they could not get this in the original series. Too expensive. It was always told it was too expensive. Jensen Ackles basically did that episode for free. He didn't accept pay on that. He was like, you put it toward getting this song in there. That's what he said. And they went, all right. So like, that's how expensive it is. Like a whole actor's pay is what took to get that song in there. So to give you guys some context, it's very expensive. Like music rights, it's not just, oh, give me this many dollars for that. It's like, nah, you gotta shell out thousands. And
those rights can be separated in different ways. You can have the rights for the lyrics, rights for the music, like, you know.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Very, very, very complicated. So that to me is even more of an excuse to buy stuff on physically, because 90% of the time you're going to get, it preserves the integrity of the show or the movie or whatever. You're going to watch it. You're going to consume it usually the same way that you did in the theater. I will say that not every series now releases on DVD and Blu-ray what was shown in theaters. Sometimes there's some minor changes.
Looking at you, Spider-Man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because even voice actors, like when they did Silent Hill HD collection, they had to recast because they're like, we don't want to pay the same contract the voice actors had when the game first came out. Konami's just like, that's too much money for just a HD collection. So
which comes down to those two words. Rachel, you want to repeat those for us?
Corporate greed.
I love the look as she's just leaning slowly into the mic to say it. This is why you should watch the video version, people. It's great.
Yeah, you should.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up real quick with our big question, just kind of a simple one that Steven came up with for us this week, which I think we'll have some fun with. But what are up to, because we're on a time limit here, 3 games that when you hear the title, you can hear the music in your head and you can even hum the songs from any generation? And Steven, since you started off with this question, we're going to start you off on the choosing of them.
So one of them is going to make you want to schedule a stream one day. But the first one, of course, is Snatcher. If you ever
I need to play that.
If you ever just Google the Snatcher, it's called Pleasure Tension. It's, for me, it's their iconic theme. It always gives you either a sense of dread or something huge is coming up and is coming for you.
I just thought about this. Sorry, if we had made this list earlier, I could have gotten all the music, put them in here, and actually had it playing. Damn it!
Yeah, the other one, considering
the other one because it has a special place in my heart, and for me, it's got the most amount of good songs. Sorry, Rachel, is Final Fantasy VI. No other Final Fantasy has had like a platinum amount of hits before for me. That whenever I went to a concert, like a Dear Friends concert, they played a lot of 6, and I was just like, oh, okay, it's hitting a lot of notes there. So as soon as somebody says Final Fantasy VI, I can just think of the opening. The opening got me into pan flutes and tried to look into what else had pan flutes in it, so I can always hear that in my head. And then it's not even that like that great of a music, but because of the melodies they use, I can remember all the melodies from Paperboy.
Why not?
The one when you get the papers,
which version?
And the old lady coming at you.
The one when you lose a subscriber, like those little jingles will stay in my head that I'll use them in other walks of life. And people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You never played Paperboy?" And then I'm old because as Chris knows, we used to work in a store together where some kids came in, saw that little orange guy with the Birdo type nose, and says, "What's cupboard?"
Oh,
wow. Oh, I would throw some shit at the kid right there. Just no.
You want to go?
Oh, that hurts. Chris, we'll have you go next. Which games would you pick?
okay. First one is kind of cheating, but come on, who doesn't know the Super Mario Brothers theme song?
Oh,
As
there
soon
goes
as
one of
you
my
hear
options.
it, it's there. Aside from because you hear those first few notes, you just know it's Mario. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatic for many of us. Aside from that, pretty much any Mega Man franchise game, but more than any one of the Mega Man X4, because that game is ingrained into my psyche.
Not
And
X7?
no, not X7. Screw X7. And aside from this, the last one, because it was so strange, quirky, and weird, but had a really good soundtrack, Silhouette Mirage from Treasure. It just the soundtrack was just so strange, but so memorable, and I think that's the kind of game I like the most, where the game is quirky but has an amazing soundtrack. So those three come to mind instantly.
Nice. All right, Rachel, you're next.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes.
So first one is gonna be Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. So moment I hear it, I hear the theme song from the intro, like not the intro, but like the main menu, the ba na 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 na, and then then every time I kid you not, if I am on my way to work on my like AI DJ thing that Spotify does, which is possibly the only use of AI I'd use. It'll play Two Up. That is a song from Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. And it's just like full of didgeridoos in Australia. And then of course another one is any of the old like Potter games from like GameCube. With Jeremy Soule as the composer.
Nice.
So like you'll hear that every time I think about it, it's like bum 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 ba-da-na-na, ba-da-na-na. And I still remember the time where I was like, this music is stuck with me so long that I was watching on Disney Plus. It was one of their shows where they're at the either Animal Kingdom or the Living with the Seas Pavilion in Epcot, and it's all about the different animals that are at Disney World. And I hear this song in the background when they're at the Living with the Seas Pavilion, like checking on the fish and the turtles and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here going, I've heard this song before. And I'll have to share the video with you guys. It's on my phone. And I'm sitting here going, I have straight up heard this song before. And I looked it up. And the song it's a song that plays when you're at the Burrow in the Chamber of Secrets game, when you're flinging the gnomes. And I had a conniption on Twitter, tagged a bunch of people in it. Nobody responded to me. And I'm sitting here going, did Jeremy Soule like just decide to add this as like fair use music for people to buy the rights for to use in just anything, even though it's in a Warner Brothers property that EA produced? How does that work?
Who knows?
And then, of course, the third, just because Jeremy brought it up, yes, I will bring up Final Fantasy 15, but it is not the theme.
Not for the song, I thought.
It is not the theme from Final Fantasy that comes up. It is not the Florence and the Machine cover of Stand By Me.
That was my original guess when I thought she would have that. I was wrong.
The vocal version of Somnus.
Okay.
The like that was literally the first song that we ever heard from Final Fantasy 15 when it was still Final Fantasy Versus 13. And that's the song that has stuck with me. So
okay.
And
good choices.
Yeah. That's my choices.
So most of mine are going to be older cartridge-based games because that's a lot of what I was growing up with. But the first one that always comes to mind is the opening theme of Mario Paint. I always remember that tune playing when you first open it up because you have the people walk in, they do the little flip rolling back, you get the applaud, and as the game is loading on the cartridge, and then the music starts kicking in and going from there. And I'll sit there and just catch myself humming that tune on occasion, just music, the menu, because I would let the menu run. Like you would just let it run and hear the music because the game would do weird little things.
Mario Paint. Whoa.
Exactly. The other one from that same era that really sticks with me that has a lot of music that I still think about and hum on occasion is the original Donkey Kong Country. From the whole opening animation with that version of the tune to all the music in that first level always kind of sticks with me as it goes through, and that's one that I've always really enjoyed.
Yeah, he performs it live at conventions and concerts now. It's insane.
I want to hear that. That'd be great. It's not Grant Kirkhope, is it? No, I'm thinking of somebody else. I can never remember. David Wise. Why do I keep thinking Grant Kirkhope? That's a different guy.
He helped.
Yeah, I'm bad about names. But then my other two options that I go back to fall back to the NES, and that would be the first level of Contra. Because I heard that music so much.
Drops you into it too. It's like,
and then you died.
Yeah. Man, I played that a lot as a kid. I was also going to choose Super Mario Brothers because that is the first video game I ever really played. And I played, there's even hilarious, embarrassing photos of me that my mom took of me sitting on the toilet, reading the instruction manual to Mario. And she, for some reason, just like kicked in the door and took a photo.
Hysterical.
And I'm just sitting there going, ah! With the Super Mario Brothers manual on my lap. I still have the photo.
Check.
I'll never read instructions again.
Oh, man. Mom just thought it was so funny for some weird reason, but I still have the photo. It's just awkward. But even if I don't go the obvious of Super Mario Brothers, I think the music from Mario 3 was really well done, especially, the world themes of a lot of those I'll sit there and listen to. And, there's a lot of times where I'd be in the middle of playing it. I'd be in between worlds and, one of my parents would be like, go do something. And I'm in the house and the music is still playing as I'm listening. So I think those are the ones that stick with me best. I know I went over the 3, but
because there's a lot of the obscure games I could mention that every time I hear them, I'm like, that's that game, because it's just got one theme that outdoes them all and stuff like that. I was telling Chris the other day because I think it was on sale. No, it wasn't. It was my other friend as well. It was just like, how's Mummy Demastered? And I was just like, it's a really hard Metroidvania, but good God, is that music amazing.
So good.
It's so atmospheric. I said, whenever I need to do stuff around the house, I put that on as my playlist because it's just, I don't know, it's just nice to listen to because some of it's ominous, some of it's like you're going to die. It just has these different energy levels. I like when a game has a different energy level, and that's what was great about the Mario games is as soon as you got to below 100 seconds and the little time jingle would play, everything would speed up and you'd be like, oh crap.
Like a lot of my music, like I said, was always cartridge based. Like I'm always a big fan of chip tunes. And then from that era you had, Killer Instinct, that whole opening theme that'll play in my head.
That CD.
Weird ones that a lot of people don't know about is like King Arthur's World. Because I would, especially the level 1 music, because you'd be playing through that trying to figure it out the first time. And that same tune would play over the whole training level. So you would hear that same song every time until you got through all the training levels. And all of a sudden they would have new music with the new worlds. And I was like, oh, this is getting repetitive, but it's stuck in my head.
Yeah. I do know that for my wife, the Sonic drowning music gives her anxiety.
As with a lot of people. Oh, man.
They recently had a Sonic concert where they went through all the best songs of the Sonic series, but they were having the game in the background play to the tune of what they were doing, and they actually played live orchestra drowning music.
It's awesome.
And
They missed a good opportunity.
You could feel the collective sigh as he jumped out of the water, and they started clapping too. It was like, that was awesome.
They didn't let him drown. Oh well.
I think they missed a good opportunity to have that hidden somewhere in one of the two Sonic movies. I think that would have been great just to have that little theme, like, slips in a bathtub or something and just starts playing. I think that'd be funny. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up this show. So as we always do, we will find out where we can find you on the internet. So for the long and complex answer, we'll start with Chris.
Here. Right here. Right now. That's it.
Right now?
Yes, now.
But now.
That
was then.
Like, thanks, Fatboy Slim. Right here. Right now.
Oh, man. Can't listen to any Fatboy Slim on a PlayStation. Not without with a CD player.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's going to keep bugging me. All right, Steven, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me in the happy-go-lucky world of Discord at N1 Nintendo. That's just Nintendo with a 1 instead of an I. You can find me in the Best Buy physical media section called Hive at Nintendo, where there's nobody to talk to.
Holy shit!
Hello.
You can then
also
find me at the mom and pop store that has all the best selection of DVDs, known as Blue Sky, at n1nintendo.bsky.social.com. Again, the I is the 1. And then you can find me on the soon-to-be $1 a month fee charging X at loading_time.
Yeah, screw that whole thing. The paying for that. Oh, he can go to hell.
It's already testing in the Philippines.
Jesus. He just wants to burn that thing to the ground. He's doing it like his car designs. All right, Rachel, where can we find you on the internet?
Many places, almost everywhere. X until that site inevitably gets thrown into a dumpster and set on fire. Threads and Instagram under Outrageous with a underscore between out and rageous. That's OUT_RACHEOUS. You can also find me on Blue Sky, also under Outrageous, but without an underscore, as well as on Twitch without an underscore. So, yeah, places. I haven't been on Twitch in a minute, though. In my defense, I'm very busy at work and therefore too tired to stream right now. So maybe after spooky season, maybe after spooky season is done.
But they have those streams where you can just sleep.
No, I'm not one of those creepy.
People. I mean, that is just creepy.
It is very creepy.
TikTok has ones that they sleep, but if you donate enough money, you'll wake them up. Like if you donate $10, they'll play like a loud alarm. If you donate $50,
I'll pass.
They'll play like a fire alarm.
Yeah, that's depressing.
That's the world we live in.
It is. So I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. You can find me on Linktree as Zenspath. You can find all my basic links there. I keep updated, but otherwise you can find me on Blue Sky at Zenspath.com, Instagram and Threads at Zenspath.com, Twitter, Hive, and Discord is at Zenspath, and then twitch.tv/Zenspath for when we're streaming. And then if you're listening to the audio version of this, you can find us over at YouTube at youtube.com/Zenspath.com. And if you're watching this and you'd like to hear the audio version or subscribe to us, you can find us over at Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast, or over at Zenspath.libsyn, libsyn.com/site. I think they're changing that. Otherwise, Zenspath.libsyn.com should work. But eventually you can also find us on our Discord to talk with all of us at bit.ly/Zenspath Discord. All one word, all lowercase. All right. I've been your host. This has been episode 105, and we're out. Peace.
Can anyone spare 1.5 ounces of creme fraiche?
I'll be right over with it.